Whoa, Nelly! Today we're going to be taking a look at the newly anticipated Theorem RTA by Wismec, J-Bo, and Matt from Suck My Mod. So you got Wismec and they're a company out of China and they're manufacturing this sucker, and then you got J-Bo and he designed and manufactured the Tobe RDA, which was a big success back in the day. Big success. He also did the Indestructible RDA, did the Noisy Cricket, did the Relo, and then you got Matt from Suck My Mod, which is, if you don't know who he is a fellow vape reviewer, a well-respected vape reviewer at that, and he's decided to get in the hardware game as far as consulting, collaborating, and he collaborated to make this thing happen. And I tell you what, it's impressive. So far, I have really been enjoying it. I've been using it for almost 3 weeks now. 3 weeks, and it's kicking some ass. Now, there are plenty of pros. There are some cons. We're going to get into it. But I tell you what, this notch coil that comes with it, it comes with a 316 SS notch coil. Holy crap, it produces flavor for days, man. And what I like about the notch coil is anybody can use it. It comes pre-installed. You fill it, you vape. You got to cut the wick because they include the wick is just way too long. I don't know why they do that. I'm going to show you how to clip it, how to use it to where you get the best flavor, all that good stuff. I got this notch coil in here right now. She's reading at 0.25 ohms. I'm vaping her at only 32.5 watts. See, my buddies, they like to vape this sucker like 50, 60 watts. I don't need that, man. 32.5 watts. Let me show you what it does at 32.5 watts. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! So now what I did was I took her up to 50 watts with this 0.2 ohm notch coil. Here we go. And you know what I love about this notch coil in this tank is I can take long ass hits. I'm not running this thing in temperature control. I never get dry hits ever. You gotta wick it right though, but I never get dry hits. Like I said, full on kick ass mother effing flavor, man. Some of the best flavor I've gotten. It's like a dripper. This is like a dripper. It's a dripper tank. But with this setup with a notch coil, I'm getting a warm, dense, oh yeah, vape. Oh yeah, and I've got this Theorem sitting on the SDNA 200, but I've got another Theorem over here with a regular, single, standard, horizontal build using 24 gauge Canthal, and she's reading at 0.5 ohms. I got her sitting on the Skelly 213, and I got this thing running in dual air hole mode. That's right. So I got the airflow hitting the top of the coil on one side and running through the peak block and hitting the back of the coil, okay? Like I said, 0.5 ohms at 30 watts. Here we go. Tons more airflow, and you could do it with this. That's what I love, man. When I first received this, I was like, oh, what's the airflow going to be like? But it's smooth, man. And you can adjust it to your liking. Whether you're using a notch coil, whether you're using a Clapton, fused Clapton, dual vertical builds. That's right. You can put dual vertical builds or single horizontal, okay? There's just so many options with this. You know what? Before I get into the pros, I want to go ahead and dive down, show you this thing up close and personal. We'll come back, talk about the pros and the cons for this, and I'll let you know if I lost this thing today or when I go out tomorrow and buy one. Alrighty, boys and girls. So here's the packaging for this Theorem RTA. On one side, what does it say? Oh, it says designed by J-Bo, inspired by Suck My Mod. You got a Wismec sticker over here. You got a Wismec sticker on this side. It says Theorem Atomizer. Over here it says Wismec. And then over here it says their website, www.wismec.com. You got a scratch and check sticker over here. So the stickers hold this thing together. And then you pop the top section off, and as you guys can see, as you saw before, you got the Theorem RTA, a stainless steel sleeve with a permanent built-in Pyrex tank, an extra Pyrex tank, and you got a little baggie. What's this baggie? Oh, and in this baggie they include an extra notch coil with some organic cotton. And here's a close-up view of the notch coil. You got a non-resistant lead attached to one side of it, a non-resistant lead attached to the other. You got the organic cotton, and this thing really kicks the flavor. It kicks the vapor. Oh yes. But the one thing you want to watch out for is these leads. They will break off if you're not careful. They're not the strongest in the world. And here's a close-up view of the stainless steel sleeve. It's got that built-in, permanent built-in Pyrex tank. Now look at this. You got a little pattern here. It looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? Like the notch coil. Check it. Very, very similar pattern. Kind of matchy-matchy. I like it. Again, here's the inside of that stainless steel sleeve. You guys can see that Pyrex tank built in. Here's the extra glass tank that comes with this tank. And check it out, you receive another baggie of extra goodies, some extra O-rings, an Allen key tool, 3 screws, and you also receive a dual airflow ring. So you got a single airflow ring, which is already pre-installed in the tank, which you'll see, and you got this dual. Now check it out, you got 2 notches, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I install her and show you how to use her. But you got 1 notch over here, 1 notch over here, dual mode. Oh yeah, and also at the bottom of this packaging, they include a Theorem Atomizer quick guide. side. And here she is, boys and girls, a close-up view of this Theorem RTA. Now, a few specs for you. She's got a pre-built Pyrex, clear Pyrex tank on there. She's primarily made of stainless steel. She's 22 millimeters in width, and she's about 41.5 millimeters in height. She's got that pre-built notch coil in there with the pre-installed cotton, organic cotton. You got a glass/stainless steel drip tip up top. You got your adjustable airflow ring in the middle, your top cap up top. You'll see all this. Down below, you got a gold-plated 510 pin, nice smooth 510 threads. And it says designed by J-Bo, inspired by Suck My Mod, and you got Wismec up top. Drip tip comes out like so, and she is a tight fit. Snug, snug, snug. Dual O-ring at the base, and this is a standard 510 drip tip, okay? So you can use your standard 510 drip tips for this. If you want to take this out and pop in your favorite standard 510 drip tip, you could do so. But here she is. Not a huge bore by any means, but she's pretty. This whole device is pretty. It's different looking. It's pleasing to the eye. Okay, that pops off, and then underneath that, you got your single adjustable airflow ring. That pops off, okay? And here is your top airflow. So this is a top airflow device. You can run it in dual air hole mode, have it wide open over the coil, and you can also have it wide open over the peak block. And with the peak block, the airflow travels down from here, down through this block, and hits the back of this coil. And here's a close-up view of the single airflow ring, open on one side, closed off on the other. And here's a close-up view of the top cap, nice clean threads. So in single air hole mode, either I can position it to where it's right over the coil or turn it to where it's right over the block. So I can just have it to where the airflow hits the back of the coil instead of on top. See what I'm saying? Or you can close her off, but whatever you set it to, you gotta hold it in place, and once you hold it in place, then you screw the top cap on there. Now this can be a pain in the ass. This is the biggest con to me with this device. And J-Bo, I hope you're watching because this needs to be changed up. I love the top airflow. I love the amount of airflow. I love the choices. I love the draw. But the thing is, when you screw it together, this ring, it tends to spin and spin and spin and spin and spin. That's gotta be changed. Screw the top cap on there while holding in place. And I'm good to go. There's the airflow slot, wide open. And here's the dual adjustable airflow ring. You got a slot open on one side, a slot open on the other. And you use this thing exactly the same way as a single. I mean, functionality wise. So if I want the airflow wide open above the coil and wide open running through the block and hitting the back of the coil, I can do that with this. Pop it on there. So it's wide open on the front, wide open in the back. And if I want to close her off halfway on each side, I could do that. A little more. There you go. Then I'll hold this ring down and screw this into place. Drip tip pops back into place, and this is a snug fit, but there you go. So whenever I want to take the top cap and drip tip off, all I do is hold the tank and pulls off just like that. And there's your block, your peak block. So the airflow travels all the way from the top, all the way through here, comes out here, and hits the back of the coil. And the peak is screwed into the top cap. There's your slot, your airflow slot, slots on one side, and then there it is on the other. And then here is the deck section. That's your fill port, that big old massive hole. It's got a quad post design, 4 hex screws or grub nuts. Again, there's your fill port, peak insulator. And look at these massive wick slots right there. Look at that. So there it is. There's a better view for you. The wick slots, massive, massive, massive. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the wick to about right here. I can always pull it through just a little bit. Okay, so about right there. That's where I want it hanging down to on both sides. About right there. Slide the tank over. Juice her up. Next step, I'm going to slide my Allen key tool between the wick and the juice slot, and what that does, it opens it up. It gives it a little air pocket, and that's what you need for efficient wicking. It's not going to wick efficiently if the wick's kissing the glass. Slide her in there, open her up a little bit, get her in that hole, that fill hole. Alright, that's about it right there. I like there to be just a little bit of an air pocket down there. I never want to fill it up to the top. And whenever I take a hit, I tilt it down. I make sure that the coil is facing me. That's something I did not mention in FaceTime. So once I'm done filling her up, I line up the peak block with the fill hole. And that press fits in just like so. Oh yeah. So here's a size comparison for you. 2 small ass tanks, the Serpent Mini next to the Theorem RTA, and they're about the same height. Same height and same width. And then here's the Reaper Plus, and the Reaper Plus is about your average 22mm tank, and I mean, look how small the Theorem is compared to it. Tiny-rific. So that right there, ladies and gents, is a close-up view of this Theorem RTA. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime. First, the pros. Price point. I've seen this thing sell $29.99. That's the 2 sites that I know of that are selling this, and $29.99 for this is a flipping steal. I like how this thing's small, too. It's stealthy. Another pro is the airflow, man. You get a buku of it, or you could close it off. You can make it to where it runs, you know, just through the peak insulator or peak block, or you can make it to where it runs just over the coil, over the single coil, or you can make it to where it runs through both. I mean, you guys saw saw it. You got so many options and it's smooth, smooth, smooth. And the flavor and vapor, like you guys saw before, you guys saw the vapor, but the flavor is phenomenal. Vapor is phenomenal. Also, when it comes to machine oil, this thing, I mean, it comes pre-installed with that notch coil, as you guys saw, and there was no machine oil, man. I just cut the wick, filled her up, vaped her, had no weird taste. It was clean, clean, clean. Hell yes. Even though I like the drip tip that comes with this, this is a standard 510 drip tip, and if I want, I could pop it out and use my other standard 510 drip tips. Installing your builds on the deck is easy. To me, it's easy. I mean, but I've been building forever, so I could do this thing in my sleep blindfolded. But for someone who's just getting into rebuilding, I think that it's going to be pretty convenient for you. It's not going to be like the Velocity style deck, but it's not bad. I mean, it's not super hard by any means. And as far as looks goes for this product, it's unique. It's definitely different. And most of these other tanks out there, it's like cookie cutter, cookie cutter, cookie cutter. This, like I said, unique, different, and I respect that. And I like it. I love the way it looks. I think it's beautiful. I think this device just looks sexy. And last but not least, this tank is screwed down on all my devices, fit down flush, been compatible. Oh yeah. Now the cons, okay, one, the adjustable airflow ring with a top cap. When you screw it on there, as you guys saw in the close-ups, it's hard to get a grip. It's just gonna slide around, and you guys got to change it. Jabo, Suck My Mod, got to change it in the version 2. If you guys put out a version 2. 2, the fill hole on this sucker is a little bit too deep. If you use a glass dropper, it's fine, but if you use a plastic needle tip, it's too deep. It tends to collect at the top of the deck, and it just needs to be raised up just a little bit. So the next con I'm about to mention, I've never had any issues with this, but a buddy of mine, I gave one of these to a buddy of mine, and he's more of a newbie, okay? And he went to take the top cap off, and he pulled the whole thing apart with the juice filled up, and it just got all over the place. It was just a mess. Now, he's more of a newbie, but you have the notch coil in here, Jabo, Wismec, Suck My Mod, I'm talking to you guys. You have this thing, the notch coil in there pre-installed. Any newbie could use this. All they gotta do is clip the wicks, fill her up, and they're good. Now, think about it. If you got these newbies using this, and they're not conscientious, and, holding the tank, when holding the tank, pulling the top cap off, they could easily do what my friend did while this thing is filled up, pull it apart, and get juice everywhere. It's something that's gotta be mentioned, okay? And the last con I found for this tank, and it's gonna be a subjective con, really not a con to me at all, but it's gotta be mentioned, this thing only holds 2 to 3 mils of juice, and that's a tiny amount, man. Some of you vapors out there are not gonna like it. If you're the type of vapor you want, 4, 5, 6 mils of juice, then this is probably not for you. Now on to the big question, the big answer of the day. Hey Rip, if you'd have lost this sucker today, would you go out tomorrow and buy one? And the answer is absolutely, man. Absolutely. First of all, price point, $29.99. I know you guys are gonna make this thing accessible. Jabo, Suck My Mod, Matt, you guys did a hell of a job with this, man. It really is. Now, is it perfect? No, nothing's perfect. But I know if you guys come out with a version 2, it's gonna be that much better. And the way it is now, it's a hell of a vape. Hell of a vape. Hell yeah, I'd buy it. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.